Eric picks Disco Doplin based on a frag video.
What? Is that really why?
No, not. I made the point of him being on Fnatic on vet players that could have a lot of potential. You know, that's part of the argument.
And he's got a cool frag video. All right, everybody, welcome back to Put Up or Shut Up, Episode 5. We're joined with the Bears, Niners, Thorin, and Sadokist, and these guys are ready to rumble. By the looks of it, they're all extremely cold in their own rights. Duncan just dressing normal as usual. So, I hope you guys all had a fantastic holiday season, and if you didn't, I'm sure you would tell me, right?
Of
it was
course.
great.
I like it.
I think
I've got a bit of a flu, but it's not the first time I've been sick on this show.
Just to be clear, I think I'm the only one with actual snow outside, so I can justify the get up.
Okay. Well, you haven't seen how many drugs come through my apartment, mate.
Going skiing today.
Moving on from
stop.
what's going on to surely be a much more in detail show here. We're going to try some new format things. We should be okay. We should be just fine. We're going to cut down on the time this time. But anyway, let's get into the first question, which is going to be the best team going into 2017. Sadokist, what is your prediction?
Prediction is the Astralis. They're peaking at the right time. They have the right composition right now.
Thorin?
I'm going to say the French super team that's going to form after the major.
And last but not certainly least, Mr. DeBears.
American Hope, Team Optic.
There we go.
Right.
Okay, and we're going to start the timer.
I didn't know Moses was on the show today.
Go ahead, guys. It's all yours.
Well, I just wanted to... Go ahead. I like to go first.
You know what?
I like to go first.
I'm new here. Show me how it's done.
Show us how it's done. Well, I want to pick up our G2. Yeah, they look like they might be a super team. Whoop-dee-doo. But you know what? They're a new team. They have to come together. They have to learn to work together. It's going to take time. And I don't think that they won't do well, but I don't think they'll be a top team in this year of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I'm actually going to pick up on exactly what he said and echo the fact that 2016 showed us that making new teams and roster changes set teams back further than it put them forward. And while there's potential there, I think they lack leadership big time. I think MBK maybe not the right guy to be taking a new team and creating composition. We know that they're going to rely on individual skill, and even Shox has been up and down throughout courses of 2016. I don't think the French team's got anything. And I think the only one of the three that is going to have anything is Astralis, and they've proved that late.
Okay, but here's the problem. Astralis are peaking right now. Everything's going well for them. They got the new in-game leader. They still only won one tournament. They still blew it twice in semi-finals. Well, once in semi, once in the final. You know, this is with all the other teams kind of depleted right now. That's the reason why I look at Eric's pick, Optic, and I see no chance. Because at the moment, the scene's at its weakest. You know, Virtus Pro had a lot of time off. You had, obviously, like, FaZe is a brand new team. They got to play them a few times. Astralis, as we said, choking. So I think once you get the teams like stabilized, which, you know, it can only take so long, and maybe 3 months, 6 months, you'll get that bunch of top elite teams. Someone like Optics is not going to get those upsets anymore. So I think that one's right out the window. I don't really see how that can really be justified, because they'd have to get even better than they are now.
But I'm going to counterpoint that immediately and say that's the thing with Astralis, is that I actually think they haven't hit their peak potential yet. They're still building. Dupree said that he didn't expect to win a tournament in 2017 with the new lineup, in 2016. They actually did win ECS. I don't think they were expecting it. I think I agree with you. The scene was depleted a little bit. We didn't have some of the top teams there, but I think that was a luck win while they're still building. And I think that their composition now with Glaive is more structured. It caters to them better. Kierby is finally fitting into the roster and the composition in a way that he's actually effective. And because of that, Device is now going to have more time to focus solely on the AWP and have the economy to do it. So I think that he's going to perform better on the AWP. I don't think he'll be the best AWP player in 2017, but I think he'll be up there. I think he'll be top 3, top 4. It wouldn't surprise me. And because of that, I really think Astralis is going to build in the right direction off of this.
I mean, you can't count Optic out yet. You say that some teams weren't, active. It's kind of a low TS period, but you know what? When teams step down, other teams step up. And teams like Team Optic, they step it up. They beat teams. They beat NIP. They beat Cloud9. They beat Astralis. They beat FaZe. They've been consistently doing well the last couple months. And I just see it up. And I'm going for blind American faith right here. Okay, I'm going to keep pounding your face. I'm going to keep throwing it in your face until they start winning, because that's how we do it in America.
I think that there are players on Optic that showed good things toward the end, but I got one question for you. What happens if Mixwell does get homesick again? I bet you if they didn't win tournaments at the end of 2016, he wouldn't be back in 2017. So how are they going to keep him around?
Well, Team Optic can fly a bunch of nice ladies for him to the Optic house. So he can go ice skating in the backyard, and then he won't feel so homesick anymore.
He's Spanish. He probably doesn't even ice skate.
They can fly him all the way down to Chicago. You know, that's what's Optics in Chicago.
I think we're all ignoring here.
Maybe they are in
Next
Chicago.
year,
Right.
there is going to be a team.
Have,
Next year, there will be a team that is Shocks and Kenny S in the same team. And
Yeah,
everyone
it's-
in that lineup likes to play a loose style. Like, if those two players go off, that's like that can be the best duo in the world. I mean, that's like a nuts potential. And we've never seen them play together. That's the key detail. They've never been on a full-time roster with each other. So, I mean, the potential in that team is unreal.
Potential is unreal.
on paper. But we've seen on paper, like Team Astralis, who always supposed to be good on paper, but then, you know, they kind of fall down in tournaments.
Oh, I mean, we've seen
down.
in reality that Astralis choke like motherfuckers, and even their own players have said, I'm not sure we'll win these tournaments. Maybe we could like get to the final or something. Like, great, definitely want to hear that from our players.
But, yeah, okay,
and we've
all
seen
right,
Optic.
all right. But,
Optic
all right.
literally needed like NAF to be like, oh, is this a dream? Haha, I had the best day of my life. Oh my God, it was the best day of my life. And they're like, yep. And now is the rest of your life. Enjoy.
But what if Kenny and Shocks don't show up? I think there's a reason they haven't played together. It's too much in one team, and I think they're going to trip over each other for at least 6 months.
The French drama continues.
Okay. The timer's done. I have to cut you all off here. You're all very vested in this question.
I got
love
my
it.
driving gloves on, Trey. I'm ready.
Is ready to drive this one home. Well, I mean, at this point, we do have to look at the fact that this French super team, on paper, does look nice. I mean, Optic coming in at the end of the year kind of has the same sort of almost storyline that Astralis did, right? End of the year, teams are a little bit depleted. But, man, you guys are not making this easy. Especially
But
since
what? Just say it.
Eric's trying, therefore this is difficult. I'm leaning towards honestly Duncan, because
What?
They're not even proven.
Astralis has never been in the final of a major. They've won like
here's
one massive
here's why.
tournament ever.
Astralis will win the next major.
I know that, but
Okay,
that's irrelevant.
we'll mark the words right there. I mean, you have to
Those
understand
are Anders'
that, like,
words, not mine. Anders' words, not mine. Just make that clear.
Jesus. Okay, not a big deal. We'll move forward to the next question, which is going to be who will be the best opera of 2017. Duncan, you won that point. You go ahead and take the first input here.
Okay, I'm going to say Fallen from SK Gaming.
Go ahead, Eric.
Device from Astralis.
Ooh. See, I was tempted to go with that, but I think to go back to the point where we just were, if Duncan's prediction is going to come true, it has to be Kenny S. And if he's not the best opera, then he loses the first point because they won't be the best team.
I think that's how that works. All right, so with the timer at hand.
Or can I dissect this? Fallen, great opera, but you know what? He has to call a team. His mind is focused. He has to control the people where he's at. So his opera will be good, but it won't be as good as a person like Device, who's literally playing with 4 support players, and they just literally hand him kills on a platter. I'm gonna be flashing for you. I'm gonna be smoking for you. It's ever since Kalave has joined Astralis, Device just sat back and just off people. He just off people without a care in the world, because people are just throwing nades for him all day.
Did he opt people, or did he miss a lot of the shots in crucial situations when they're rushing bomb sites to get bombs down? Because I'm not going to lie, I'm a big Device fan, but this is the issue that he had last year, is that it was inconsistent on the AWP. He often, in high-stress situations, would give it up and go back to the rifle to try and clutch out rounds, and they didn't have the economy to ever get it in his hands. I don't doubt the guy's got potential on the gun, but he's not going to be the best opper in the world. I can't see it. I think even he knows that he's opping in that team out of necessity. They had Kerrigan, they had Cajun B. Yes, he's a more fast-paced opper and used to do it on the T side, but he was never the primary guy in the role, and that was for a reason.
I mean, Matt already said that the French team isn't going to be the best team. So if they're not even going to be doing that well, how is their AWPer going to be doing that well? He's not going to have the AWP that often, is he? You need to have good economy. You need to be winning halves, winning rounds to get the AWP. He's not going to have the AWP in his hands. Meanwhile, Fallen, we've seen even with dog shit Fox in the lineup, Fallen's still a beast. You know, that guy just gets it done. And Eric's saying he has to call as well. Yeah, that's about how sick he is. He's having insane impact. He's getting picks. He's getting information. And he's calling as the in-game leader. So, I mean, this guy has shown tournament in and tournament out, he can get it done.
Yeah, but you've just given me 2 points. The first is that they have Fox in the lineup right now, and Fox is going to struggle. We saw it on Overpass when he played with them at ECS, how much he struggled with the rifle to find accuracy. Eventually, they're going to say, you know what? This guy's not doing anything. The only role he's sufficient in, and hardly at that, is when you throw him on the AWP, and that means Fallen is going to end up sacrificing Cold Zero for sure on the second op. Fallen's going to end up sacrificing the op in certain situations. So he's not going to
only for the first few months. He's going to have all the rest of the year.
All right, but in those first few months, if your prediction on the last point is right, the French team has to rely on Kenny S. And I think that, Kenny was a guy that was hit the heaviest out of anyone in the op nerf, but with the movement mechanics changed and getting more sort of that old lucid style that 1.6 had back into the game with the movement update, he's really come back to life. And I think he's had some incredible games on Overpass. He's had some incredible games on Cobblestone versus G2, none other than Shox going against him. I think that, like you say, if Shox and him are going to be a duo, he's going to have the support from Shox to be able to be absolutely free to do whatever he wants. And that's when Kenny's the absolute scariest.
Yeah, but I think he's an awesome AWPer, but, you know, they have Smith as a coach now, so he's going to have to be throwing flashbangs as an AWPer. He's going to have to be throwing smokes. He's going to have to play a little support there. And so with him being the coach, I mean, that might hinder a tiny bit for Kenny S, where he has to play more of a team game.
Liz, debating noobs. I don't think it matters. He's a coach now, all right? I think that's where he's always been a tactical mastermind. He's a support player. Now he gets to support all 5 of them, and Kenny can get the kills.
Okay,
I don't know what universe Eric says that Device has 4 support players playing with me. He's playing one of the most skill-stacked lineups in the world.
Yeah.
And in fact, I actually think if you look at his style of AWPing even, he doesn't really have a lot of support. They just kind of put him as like the guy who's coming in like third to the site to pick someone off without anyone attacking him. So I think he actually, in theory, has the easiest time of a lot of the AWPers. His job is just to hit consistent shots. I actually don't think he can really qualify for this award because he's not going to be like the carry AWPer, you know. The difference is someone like, obviously,
it's a team game.
Fallen is straight up carrying certain maps, trade, Overpass.
Fallen uses his teammates too to help him up. They're baiting for him. They're taking shots. They're throwing nades. I agree. He's not as explosive as Kenny S. He has to sit back, but that's all that he has to do. That's how good Astralis and their support.
But they have support players. So if he has to sit
it
back
makes him win. It works for them.
That's
and it works.
Like, what's he going to do? Sit back and say, oh, thank you for dying in that position. Now I'll just wait for them to come to A while they're actually going to B? Like, I'm sorry.
Come on.
He's got to be proactive.
It's not that simple. Listen, they're sitting back. And
simple. There's a guy that's probably going to be a better AWPer than Device, actually.
I don't know about that. He's good, but his mental... Okay, I'm getting off track here. You're throwing me off.
The mentality Device is dynamite, though, right? He's always locked in and sick in the games, right, Eric? Man alive.
Yeah. No, sorry, Eric. I think you come in last place.
What? Last? Come on.
That kind of tends to happen on this show if you haven't noticed the trend here. But it's all right. I believe in the man, and that's why he keeps coming back. He keeps coming back for more. He's hungry, you can tell. Now, when I look at you guys'
get that Rockstar in there, Duncan.
We've got Thorin picking Fallen, Sadokist picking Kenny S, and Eric picking Device. I mean, I'm going to keep going with the helms here of the French super team, basically because we cannot see what's coming with them. But, I mean, if it all aligns appropriately, like it's supposed to on paper, every time a new roster is formed, we will see a dominant force here. So, I mean, I'm going to go with Sadokist on this one. Kenny S, when he's on fire, he's hard to handle. All right? Duncan, you all right with that? You going to be cool? Is it cool?
It's fine. Duncan wasn't ready for a masturbator to be here today, so I'm ready for this.
Okay. The master.
All right. All right. So, question 3: which player will be the MVP of 2017? Sadokist, you won the point. You can go first.
Well, it may seem contradictory to our last argument, but I actually think the MVP would be Device. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to be the best on the off.
Reasonable.
but it's because of his versatility, and he has been a cornerstone of Astralis' success. I think he's going to be on the rifle for a lot of it, though.
All right.
I mean, I heard that Sadokist goes both ways, but this is ridiculous.
I'm the umpire. I play for both teams.
Okay.
All right, this is getting awkward. Next victim, Thorin, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to say Shox, from the French super team.
All right, and Eric, what you got for me, bud?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Fallen. I think he's MVP. I think he's so good.
You guys are a joke, all of you. All right.
No, but there's good reasons. There's good reasons behind this. Okay.
Okay, hold on. You know what? Why don't you kick us off? Let's start the timer and go.
All right, for Fallen, SK is not SK or Luminosity, whoever you think these guys are, without Fallen. Yes, he's a great AWPer, probably not the best, but he's very good in game leading. He controls teams so well. It's just so nice to see the way that SK plays because of Fallen. Like, they get map control. They can do, like, Taco just rushing the upper bottom side of B train, just random little things that just work so well at the high level. It blows my mind, and I thank Fallen for that. I do.
He's like bowing down.
Okay, Eric, here's the problem. You've fallen into your usual trap, which is you've named someone who isn't even the best player on their own team. So how the fuck is Fallen going to be the MVP of his own team when the guy on his own team has put like record-breaking numbers every fucking event? So Cold Zero is presumably going to have to get way worse for Fallen to be this good, in which case his team's going to tank, and therefore he's not going to have a chance to be as good because he won't be on a winning team. So pretty much, there's nothing about SK will allow Fallen to be the best player, because if he's at his best, it makes Cold Zero the best player on the team.
I didn't say best player, most valuable player. Fallen controls the whole system. The whole system, baby. It's not just fragging. Cold Zero's good at fragging, good in-game sense, but Fallen, he's a puppeteer. He's controlling them. He's just telling them what to do at the right time at high level stakes of CS.
So
that's why he's most valuable.
Then. Not really most valuable player then.
Most valuable.
Well, then, I think there is a debate for the word best and valuable, and that's why I think Device has to be considered the most valuable, because even though he may not be the best in the AWP, he's going to be the guy that's winning them the crucial 1v3s that gets them into the next round, that avoids reset. He's going to be the guy that might find one op kill in the opening of the round, but swaps to the rifle late, rotates back in, and we know he's extremely good with accuracy on an AK. We know he's got very good awareness in those situations, and I think, like I said, now that he's got a team around him, 4 support players, some might say, I think he'll be in a position where he'll capitalize. And even if he's not the best player on the op, he will be the most valuable on Astralis. And like I said at the start of the show, Astralis is going to have a dominant year. So I think undoubtedly it goes toward him. I know you look at Shox, but I mean, Shox is a one-trick pony. And I think there's going to be a lot of problems on that French team tripping over each other. I think Kenny is going to upshow him big time.
See, here's the problem is that Device is someone where if you want someone to be the MVP of the whole year, you've got to do really well at the majors. Like, you can't just not do well at the majors and do well at the other events. He already showed some choke at IEM Oakland. He already showed some choke in the final of E-League. You know, these aren't even the majors yet. They're big events, but they haven't got that major status. Unfortunately, he is one of the reasons why their team's never been to the final of a major. So if you had to bank on anything right now, history would tell you that he's not got over that hump. He hasn't proven that he's going to yet. So I don't know how you're going to be the MVP of the year if you're not like in the final, if you're not winning majors, if you're not putting on the superstar performance in the big game that everyone remembers. Difference is, someone like Shox, you give him a good enough team, and he absolutely can do that.
And I think that's where 2 things come to mind. 1, Anders' words, not mine. Astralis is going to win the next major, which therefore would mean he has to have gotten over that hump. And 2, if they're going to be the dominant force of the year, they're going to be winning majors finally. So I think it's Device's year. I think you're onto something. That's probably what has been missing and why he hasn't been the #1 rated player in the world. I think 2017 changes that.
Okay, but here's the thing. Shox is literally the most versatile player of everyone we've named so far.
He has good hair. I'll give him that.
He absolutely can win the clutches. He can do the entrying. He's just got like fantastic pistols. He's amazing with the rifles. He can secondary AWP if he wants to. So actually, this is the guy who I actually think if he has a really good team around him, which he didn't necessarily have for all of 2016, then he's the guy where he's got the most areas he can have an impact in. So I actually think that's why he can be the MVP, because in theory, it doesn't matter what the shape of the team is, he can find a way to have a big impact.
Would you say that Shox is a better hybrid player than Device?
Well, I think that the problem is Shox doesn't have to use the AWP as much as Device does. Device actually has gone the other way, primarily AWPs now. So actually, I think the problem with Shox and Device is, at the moment, neither's really playing like a hybrid. Like, Shox was using the AWP mainly just because Smith's was just shit, basically. Most faces, not to refuse to. And then Device is using it because at the moment they don't have an AWPer on their team. So wow. I actually think that Shox is in his more standard role, which is as the rifler.
I just think that as a hybrid, which 2017 is going to feature a lot of based on the different complexions of teams, I think Device is the best in that role, and that's why I think he's going to be #1.
Look, we got Thorin with Shox, we got Sadokist with Device, and we've got Eric with Fallen. all in their own respected rights, assets to their team. But the question was, who was the who will be the MVP? Who will be the one that kind of carries their team amongst statistically, and even if they're more of like a support player, if they use more utility for their guys. I mean, we've been on this thing of the French super team being worthy, but look at him. He's pre-celebrating right there. So he's got the smirk about him. I see it. He thinks he's getting the point. But I do believe what task Fallen has ahead of himself as an in-game leader, and albeit another op on his team, he has to bring more to the table, which in turn would make him a big part of that team, correct?
Okay. I didn't realize we were at the fair here. We didn't have to bring tokens, did we?
No.
Bringing tokens? Okay. You handing out tokens? Oh, okay.
But it is 2017, and we do give away participation awards. So
yes, I got one of those, please. Thank you.
We're going to give this point to the Bears, and we're going to move on to a much more interesting concept here for a question. Question number 4. Who is destined to fail in 2017? And because
Thorin.
hold on, preemptive fire there.
Okay.
Eric, you won the last question. Let's give it to you first. Hold on.
Destined to fail. I thought
Yeah,
biggest
go ahead.
disappointments. Biggest destined to fail.
Destined to fail, biggest disappointment. It's
Similar. I would say I'm gonna pick Navi. I'm just saying Navi, and then
All right, Sado.
Whoa, because I was told I had Navi for this one. So now we got a problem. So I'm going to have to switch it up. And I'm going to say the French super team. I don't think it works. I don't think that fast. I don't think that quickly. I think it all collapses.
And please, Duncan, please.
I'll take ninjas in pajamas.
Okay, Ninjas in Pajamas for 1,000. Let's go ahead and cut the timer on, and you guys take it away.
Okay, so NIP has already started to drop off. And the big problem is if you look at last year, even their high points were like miracle wins. You know, this wasn't like convincing stuff where they really were ahead of the field. Then you look at all the complaints they had last year. So they start the year off and they're like, oh, we don't have proper structure because we don't have a coach. So they get a coach, they get some structure. Oh, it's going great now. We've got structure. Oh, wait, now we have structure. We're just readable and really predictable. It's like NIP's a team where their big problem has been the same for a long time. They refuse to change that core 4-man lineup. And as you see, year on year, it gets more and more difficult to win. It takes miracles to win. So as a result, I think what you recently saw, sure, they're probably not going to lose to the Vegas Squadrons of the world that often, but what you saw when they got knocked out by Flipside, what you saw with some of these results where they just made it to like playoffs and they could never get any further, people who look at NIP like they can be champions again. I don't think they're going to win anything this year. I think their time, they had a great year, but it's been and gone for NIP.
Who looks at NIP like they're champions? I mean, I thought this is expected of NIP. You know,
well, the thing is,
they do well and then fall down. I mean, it's not like, that's expected.
But all you got to do is be like Chumbawamba and get back up again, because you got to remember that NIP was one of 2 teams all year that picked up 3 wins in premier level tournaments, $250,000 prize pools or above. The other team obviously was SK. That's huge to be on the same page as them. Now I agree they have inconsistencies. But even with results like that, it's a far cry from being the most disappointing team. I think there's disappointment within it. I think the Vegas Squadron highlights that. I think Flipside highlights that. I think those results are definitely, Duncan's going to have the short-term memory of the community on his side with the Vega one, but I don't think they're the most disappointing. I think they've had a lot of upsides, and I think that will continue. Where I see disappointment coming through is when you look at a team like the French super team, on paper, who's desperate based on mixed results of Envious's fall from grace, G2's inconsistencies, and they're trying to build a team on star power alone. We know that's never worked. And I still don't think they have the leadership on that team to make it work quick enough. So remember, this is 2017. Maybe last half of 2017 they step it up. Maybe 2018 they look dominant, but it's going to take a long time getting there. And there's going to be a lot of French fans that are heartbroken waiting for it.
And even though G2, on paper, they look good, they're probably going to have a little hard time. But, they're still expected to probably do well and place top 5 in tournaments consistently. They're like Navi, who in the last 3-4 months or last couple months have been pretty inconsistent and a lot of drama around Simple. Navi's a ticking time bomb, and for a team that you expect to win, to get top 3 in every single tournament, I mean, that's a huge disappointment when they don't make qualifiers and they start to lose out early round in tournaments. I mean, it's a ticking time bomb with those guys.
That's what I don't understand about your point, though, is that Na'Vi already disappointed. They already finished like last place in a few tournaments and didn't make any playoff runs. So if anything, they've already shown us like the bottom floor of what they can do. It's almost certain that either they come back to form and become really good, in which case they can't be a disappointment, or it's almost inevitable they'll just change players and eventually get a lineup that'll be good. So if anything, I think it's almost impossible for Na'Vi to be as bad as they were for the last quarter of the year, except for like 2 tournaments, basically.
Yeah.
And then in terms of picking the French super team to be a disappointment, here's the problem. If you look at the lay of the land right now, the teams that would give like an all-star lineup like that trouble is like SK Gaming. Well, SK Gaming's got Fox now. We don't know what their lineup's going to look like. Astralis, they've got some choke there, whereas you look at some of these players, Shocks, NDK, these are clutch players, don't tend to throw up the tilt performances. Virtus Pro, obviously, no one knows what to expect from them. They haven't actually been around for a while. Dignitas is a bit up and down. I mean, North, they're called now. So actually the field's perfect right now to come in with a really skilled lineup. Optic, they're not going to have a lot of fun going head-to-head with all the aimers in this team. I think actually the early part of the year is when the French super team, if anything, it's primed to have their best results, like all the French teams, where they initially break out, before people figure out how to play them and what maps to play them on. So I think you look at the team I picked, NIP, and they're a team where they're on the gradual dip down, and there's no real reason as to why they can ever be like a world-class team again for me, because at the moment, I think a lot of their big results at the end of the year were when it was really up in the air. I think eventually someone dominates again, and then NIP becomes like, like the 7th best team in the world. And that would be disappointing, I think, for a team that won 3 tournaments last year.
Partly why I think the French team will be the disappointment, though, is because they're not going to find those results. And ding. All right, good. Got the last word.
I think
remember though,
Kenny
S definitely still best offer this year. So.
Like whoever gets the last word into the argument usually wins it, right?
Exactly.
No,
just ask Donald Trump.
All right, so when we review the answers here, we got Thorin with Nip, we got Sadokist with the French super team that's coming out, and Eric with Na'Vi. I mean, okay, so it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? If we look at the French super team, they could either do extraordinarily well, on paper it looks fantastic, or they could, plummet and it'd just be a huge failure of funds and resources and people's time. But NIP, on the other hand, kind of, they ride this roller coaster, man. And it's extreme ups, extreme downs. I mean, their extreme ups are definitely not nearly as much as their downs, though. So, I mean, for Na'Vi, I don't think, they're at a pretty low point. So, I mean, I have to, I think, it's awkward because, the first question.
Think of the hope of the French fans.
I picked the French super team in the first question, and then I say they're going to be destined to fail. But I think it could be, at this point with this lineup, I think NIP is the one that actually.
There we go. See,
that actually
prevails.
Has the most trouble at this point, that is going to need to either step it up huge here in the beginning of the year, come out and gun everybody down, surprise them up, or they're going to have to seek some sort of change. But let's go to question 5 here of the main questions. Player on the rise for 2017, or basically who's going to have a breakout year in 2017? And let's start with Duncan.
Oh, was this? Oh, breakout player. Sorry. Okay.
Okay, so I'm actually going to say it's going to be Sick from TSM currently.
Okay. Is that because you have the flu? Because that's the only reason I could think you possibly even putting him in your mind.
Hold on. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Eric, what you got?
Disco Doplin.
All right.
Get this guy off the show.
So I've put a lot of thought into this topic on my own because I tweeted out a list of players that I thought already had breakout years. And I think Disco's already had a bit of a breakout to make it into Fnatic. The player for me that has the potential to break out in the next year, there's 2. They're both on one team. It's Optic. Nafly, and the guy that I think is going to outdo him is Rush. And the only reason I didn't include them in 2016 is because they only had 2 tournaments. But if you look at Rush's performance, his 2 tournaments that he was great were the 2 tournaments that Optics were extremely successful in. And I think that if you look at that going into next year, if he finds that consistency, he's the easy breakout for 2017.
Oh, this is going to be a barn burner. Please, by all means, start the timer and take it away.
So the problem with that is he's already had his breakout. Like, that's what allowed them to win E-League. If you look up until the finals, he was like the MVP of the whole team. Then you've got to add in terms. I mean, by the way, you named 2 players there, which I didn't know we were allowed to do.
Well,
so
I picked Rush.
Okay, right. So we're going with Rush then. So the other problem there is entry fraggers. they can almost never be like MVP level players because they live and die by their team. If their team just starts playing like shit, they lose. So the big problem Optic has, from my perspective, is Rush needs like Tarek and Mixwell to really maintain high level of form. Otherwise, he's just going to be like the sacrificial lamb. You know, it doesn't matter how good you are if you're running in and just getting gunned down every time. So problem there is there's so many extra factors to put in there. And at the moment, yeah, we know Mixwell and Tarek are good, but once the teams get stronger in Europe and we get those really like dominating teams, can Optic really perform at that level? We don't know yet. That's a massive question mark. And then who the fuck did Eric pick? Disco Doppler. Like,
Yo, Ray, Disco Doppler.
Man
Listen,
alive.
he just joined Fnatic.
Yeah,
They have a
Come
lot
on.
of old veterans on there, and I mean, he's only played what, like, less than 10 matches with them. I mean, he's only played a handful of matches.
Okay.
As you say, he had his breakout by joining the team, but he still has to do something with the team. And I think he has a lot of potential. I think the Fnatic in general has a lot of potential for this next year, and I think he might turn some heads. And especially if you watch his frag video, it's crazy. I went nuts.
Cool. I can make a frag video too.
I'd like to see that, Say. I'd like to see a frag video, and then I wouldn't be impressed as much as I was impressed with Disco
I'll
Doppler.
edit the kill feed so it doesn't say Bot John every time.
So here's the problem, Eric, is that Disco Doppler is 21 years old. He is not a young guy. There's a reason he wasn't in elite level teams before. It's not that people never played with him in mixes or FPL or whatever. They did, and they just thought, this guy's all right, but he's just been and gone, you know. It's not like he's 17 and, you know, he's in fact the new simple. 17. It's like, we've got to get this guy in the teams. Fnatic took him because they had to. They were desperate. Things weren't working. Crims wanted to leave. They just took this guy out of like pure panic. And then in terms of like, come on.
I was going to say, you know, you can't have that mindset that if you're young, you're always a lot better. This is video games. Your reaction times don't go down till you're like 70 years old. This whole
You're still waiting for some reaction times.
And,
I'm 27 and I'm already slow.
No, it's because you're having a good time every night. You know, you're having some steaks and beers and you're enjoying life. These gamers are hardcore. I'm not going to call you.
Can we disqualify him for being rude?
You're beautiful. You're beautiful. But I'm saying Disco Doppler, he has a lot of potential. And unlike you know, I can't even remember what you got. Rush and them, they've already proved themselves. They've won tournaments. All right. So that's pretty much already a breakout.
Well, if you want to talk about potential and breakout, Eric, then you'd probably go with someone like Sick from TSM, because even with bad lineups, you know, he showed us on LAN.
What? Tier 3 team? Like, I didn't remember
LAN,
what you said.
He showed us some big performances. He's the reason why they went to semis of ECS with fucking Semphis in the lineup and FNS. People who are actual dead corpses and they're just dragging them up Mount Everest. They're not even leaving the bodies. And here's the thing about Sick. He is so young.
Also on the back of Automatic.
Okay. Here's the thing. Automatic wasn't that good in that team. Sick was better than him.
Oh,
Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing about Sick. In this lineup, either they get someone that makes TSM work, or he will be part of the next shuffle in NA. And he'll be on a Team Liquid or a Cloud9 or some other team. And as a result, his career is only going up at this point in time. You know, as he gets more lands, he is going to prove himself to be amazing.
If he was such a good breakout player and carried them so severely, why did Automatic get picked? Was it the Asian connection? Just Stewie was like, no, I want that guy. Like, why was he not picked from TSM? Because I don't understand that. Like, Automatic clearly outshowed him. And
why do good-looking guys ask fat girls to go on dates to them? I don't know. People just do crazy shit, you know.
Sometimes there's more motion in the ocean. You just kind of slap it, ride the wave. It's fine.
Stewie said, listen, I want to find someone who just, like, I can look in the mirror and feel like this guy's on the same page as me. Looked at Automatic and was like, this is a mirror. Like, I'll have him on the team. Yeah. Whereas he looked at Sick and he was like, I can't relate.
The only world that Sick is a breakout player is in a virtual reality. So if you'll excuse me, I'm going to continue my point.
You picked like a top 5 entry fragger in the world as a breakout player for next year. What's he going to do?
We
just
know,
become number 1 entry fragger.
Have been shared. We know Rush's performance. You say he was the MVP of V-League. That's the start of the breakout. That's one tournament. As soon as he has 3 or 4 tournaments like that, which I think he will, he's going to be
even argued that Mixwell's going back to stage, so they're going to get worse.
Potential. Look at how much he's done for Liquid. I think Rush is the same thing for Optic, and I think that's why they're the big team in NA this year.
Probably should go on with the lead.
Oh, the last point. You just wait until a couple seconds go, and then you just keep on going.
I got to pick somebody here to get a point, and it's a close race. I mean, does Eric go to his first playoff, or does Sadokist watch Eric in his first playoff? It's kind of the same thing, right? No.
Oh, okay. So I mean, concluded then.
Hold on. Thorin picks Sick. Honestly, a good pick. It's a good pick. He's on the up and up. Sadokist, you pick Rush, but when we look at Rush, we kind of have to say, okay, that team, does he need those guys around him to help him get to where he is, right? Is he going to have a more breakout year?
They didn't win tournaments without him. That's all I'm going to say.
Save your frustration. Eric picks Disco Doppler based on a frag video.
Is that really why?
No, not. I made the point of him being on Fnatic on vet players that could have a lot of potential. You know, that's part of the argument.
And he's got a cool frag video. All right, so
Okay, yes, that's pretty good.
This Optic lineup showed so much promise in the later half of the year. So I think it's gonna have to be Rush with this one. I think I gotta pick Sadokist.
Nailed it. Peace out, Eric.
And here's why, because I mean they did show this promise in the later half of the year. Can they continue it? And if they do, I mean obviously these are guys that have always been on the fringe and the outside of NACS.
Yeah, they were the outliers.
And they want to be at the very top. They want to just immerse in they want to beat that C9 logo. They want to be above them at all times. They want to be above that Liquid logo. So yeah, we're going to go with Sadokist. Welcome to the jury here. You can stand to my right, Eric. It's over here.
Yes.
We're going to go into rapid fire questions where I will ask the question. Sadokist and Thorin, you will both have 30 seconds to respond at your own times. So this is where stuff gets a little dicey. In case
I thought it was whoever answers first.
Well, I mean, you get to answer first.
Oh,
but
right.
you get
30
seconds
each.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. We get 30 seconds each. That's the key.
Right.
You just say the name or whatever first, Stacey.
Okay. First question: Scream or Shocks?
Shocks.
Shocks. Who's first?
That's me, obviously.
Definitely
it's way faster.
So here's how this works:
It's the Canadian internet. It's the snow. I said it like 10 seconds ago.
You have to argue for Scream, Thorn for Shocks. We're gonna start the timer for Thorn. You're gonna get 30 seconds. Ready? Go.
I mean, obviously, I'll start with the fact that even Matt said Shocks as well. He just lagged, therefore he actually already agrees that I'm right. We'll start there. Then we'll actually make some points. Like, first of all, in their own team, Shocks was the better player, you know, like they both had high impact, but Shocks was just more well-rounded. He was the leader of the team and the best fragger. And Scream is going to be left on the outside of this French shuffle. No one even knows what's going to happen. Is he going to go to NA? Is he going to be in some like second-tier team? He's going to play with Existence. Doesn't look bright for Scream, where Shocks, if anything, is going to be in a better team this year.
Sado, you have 30 seconds to defend your side. Go.
I mean, not only does Scream have better hair, and even if he left the CS team, could own but a very successful barbershop, I look for X factors in the team. And the thing with Shocks is, yeah, he's very good, but he wasn't enough to give G2 victories. And we always said the second guy in the equation was Scream. And his accuracy, second to none. Undoubtedly, he is a world-class aimer, but he also brings something very good in clutches. And I think whatever team he goes to instantly gets better, whereas I'm not sure Shocks brings that to every composition. So I think Scream's the bigger part of a team.
Well, I believe it's a no-brainer. You both wanted Shocks. But
did I bullshit enough?
We don't. I mean, you could have probably sold me a car if you tried just a little bit harder. But unfortunately, we're going to give the point to Thorin there because I mean, we're not even going to go down that road. It's not even necessary. Let's move on to the next question. And this one's a little hot water. Who was right? PEA or the players?
Players.
Oh.
I have to say PEA then.
Okay, Sadokist, you answered first. Go ahead.
The issue with PEA, I understand that exclusivity wants to come in, but the players were right because they were already, some of them already in contracts, and some of them negotiated contracts blindly, which is incorrect and unethical by PEA team owners in the first place. PEA had a massive potential, could have been hugely successful had they abided their time and showed that they are a good enough league that players want to go there. As it is, we know ESL has issues, but they're the lesser of two evils in this case, and they're a known evil. So the players absolutely deserve their rights, and they made the right call going elsewhere.
Duncan, please.
Okay, so the actual core issue was whether players should have the right to choose where they compete. Now, all of those players, including players who signed in December of 2016, signed contracts which gave away those rights legally to their teams. Their teams might have lied unethical, but is that illegal? And so none of the teams did anything wrong. It was all in their contract that they have the right to choose. The players actually, in a legal sense, are entirely wrong, and it's entirely the prerogative of the teams to choose where their own franchises compete in Counter-Strike.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
I see. This is a 50-50 right here. It's a rough one because now I have to pick who was right. The PEA or the players right. All right, we're just going to go on to the next question now.
Politically neutral.
Bring in Sir Scoots to award the bonus point.
Just have a little
Patch
pop
him
up
in.
of him. Yeah. You call it a lifeline. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you kind of look at the history of sports, right? And where players pick where they want to play, what leagues they want to play in, where they get transferred, unless, MLB, this and that. I mean, the other side of things is like how PEA went about it, right? Or like supposedly to what the public knows. It's like how the PEA went about it. I have to give this one to Mr. Sadokist.
Yeah, buddy.
I believe that.
I'm gonna reinforce
Giggity,
that. Too.
giggity,
I'm
giggity.
gonna reinforce that.
Yeah, let's hear
Totally
it.
wrong
Let's
on
hear
every
it.
level of course. But
Because we should stop letting corporations take all the rights, make all the decisions for us. I don't like this contracting.
okay. So are you taking the broadcasting rights to this show then, Eric? Are you
Hey,
taking
no,
them?
No, I
Here's
don't
the-
take
here's-
any rights to anything. It's a team effort.
Okay.
We
Here's
all
the
do
thing.
this together,
Yeah,
okay,
corporations.
baby?
I don't
Sell
mind if
out.
teams have places inside leagues, but players need to know that ahead of time and make a decision. It's like you say, you could pick if you want to play in the NHL or KHL. It means you're on a different team, but you still have the ultimate choice as to where you go. And if these guys want to form that league, then the team should be completely vacant, and players who say, yeah, I want to play in that league can go pick it. You can't throw your players that are already playing into it.
Definitely signed contracts though. So legally I'm correct. I win legally. So that's all.
Legally, you win. I think.
Legally,
Esports
there's no
and
lawyers
contracts
here,
are
so we
pretty
don't know
laughable.
this, all right? There's no lawyers here. Are there? Are you guys lawyers? I didn't know that. Hello?
I'm an expert in bird law.
All right, let's move on to another question here, and it's regarding an event this weekend. Actually, WESG. Who's the favorite to win?
North.
Who the fuck's even there? Let me have a look who is there. Isn't
Virtus
Virtus
Pro.
Pro
There's
going?
only one
I'm gonna
other
take.
yeah.
I'll take Virtus Pro.
That's
Yeah.
the only other choice.
Okay, and Sadokist, take it.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, Virtus Pro is the only other choice, the second choice. North is incredibly strong right now. They're going to be motivated by the fact that they have the new sponsors behind them. There is a bit of an anomaly in this, and that's that AZ has to play with them because it is a national tournament. He's Danish, but AZ worked well with the former Dignitas lineup in the past. I think he's actually a better player than Rubino, and they showed that at the qualification stages in Europe. Remember Virtus Pro, they finished 4th in that qualifier. They weren't even up there. They weren't motivated to play on this international stage. Dignitas with AZ won it. It's because AZ was sick.
You know what?
Thorn, relax.
Stunner, are you ready, mate? Are you ready, mate?
I don't know if I'm ever ready for what you have to say.
Listen,
to be completely
this will be
fair.
easy. This will be very quick. You ready for the quickest answer ever?
30 seconds.
No.
You got it.
North actually pulled out of the tournament. They're not actually going to this tournament. And therefore, Virtus Pro's at the tournament. Therefore, I win. So thanks. Virtus Pro's a better team. They exist. They're actually going to the tournament. I think that's it. Do I need to do any more?
Spill some
No,
beans?
you're good. We're going to take the next 15 seconds to really reflect on any thoughts Eric has going on in his mind at this time.
That's unfortunate for Matt. I was thinking that he
I don't like
was
to be
doing
rude and
pretty
interrupt.
well
You know, I
right
like to
there.
let people make their points.
He got a little swindled right there. Like,
When did this happen?
You
I
basically
don't
got
even
wrecked.
see it in the recent news.
You basically got wrecked.
Oh, you know what's
yeah,
happening? I was showcasting some little mobile game in Sweden, and I didn't have a clue what was going on in the real world.
I suppose that's a normal thing that happens to most all of us. Yeah, obviously, Thorin, congratulations on your easy. That's the easiest point ever won on the show, minus the Santa Claus one. That was also
That was pretty simple.
pretty simple.
that was hard earned.
I mean, at least Nico's number 11 in the world, not number 1, right, Thorn? Where's
Only
Where's
by a
two
bunch
ones in
of
there?
pleb
Two number
cretins
ones. That's all it
ratings.
is.
So
where?
So
I
number
didn't
one,
even
he had
see.
two, right? Okay, let's move forward.
exactly.
All right. All right.
Best country for holding large events.
United States of America.
I love it.
Sweden.
Where?
Sweden.
Okay, Thorin, please.
Right. First of all, the United States of America has many amazing locations and massive stadiums. Madison Square Garden. Obviously, you've got all like the MGM Grand, where DreamHack Las Vegas will be. Great cities to go to as well, like great quality food, really easy air travel, especially within the United States. It's actually been shown historically that like most countries can just get in there in terms of like attending the event. Meanwhile, Sweden is full of
Oh my
Oh
God!
my
Everybody,
goodness. Guys.
I don't know. I think there's some sort of line I had to draw where you guys can say things.
Yeah,
and-
we don't like to make lines, but let's just pretend that's
yeah,
Habitual line crosser.
okay.
Yeah. All right. Moving totally away from that. Sadokist, please tell us why Sweden is the best country for events. Go.
I'd be much closer to most of the top teams in Europe. It's less travel time for them, which means less jet lag and excuses for them to not perform at their greatest. We know that the USA is extremely expensive for the venues that Thorin mentioned. They're very, very high-end buildings, and therefore organizers can't break even on them. And people have to travel from everywhere just to get there because it's such a spread out demographic. Sweden is central. The players are known locally in newspapers as local celebrities. And I have never been in a country that breathes Counter-Strike so much in my entire life. Stockholm is the city where it exists.
Yes, exist is in Stockholm. That is correct. I can't just look past what Thorin said. I want to. Like, as much as I want to put that...
It's in the back of your mind, isn't it?
No, it needs to go away. It needs to go far away. My God. The point is, I mean, you went off on a tangent about, while you did pick America, I have to almost award you based on that premise.
I mean, Canada's better than America. You don't even need a visa to get here.
Okay.
That's enough. He said enough. At what point he said enough.
That is basically just asking.
This is bullshit.
deal with it, right? Okay. No, I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna give the point to Sadokist just because I can. And like I said, because I can, he gets the point. And there's actually nothing that any of you can do about it. I don't need any reasoning. It is what it is. Let's go to the last and final question. Is going to determine the winner.
I mean, I already gave him a freebie, so the fact I'm still in it.
Which team will do best at the E-League Major in Atlanta?
Astralis. And that's
Anders' words, not mine.
Okay.
So as a result of this, I have to go with Virtus Pro.
Well, I mean, to each their own. Go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, my friend Matt here actually spent his time arguing that Device would be the best player and the MVP of the year. So I'll go ahead and take it that he's going to be the MVP of this tournament as well. He also argued that Astralis is the best team coming in 2017, and they're looking fantastic. So he made some great points there. I think Astralis has an insanely deep map pool. At the moment, they only have one factor going against them, which is the choking, which they have gradually started to get over. They have won that 250K tournament. They look like everything's kind of flowing at the moment. And crucially, the kind of clutch teams that make them break are falling apart. NIP's gone. SK's got kind of semi-gone.
That says zero. It says zero.
I like when
you know a
someone
zero
says
when you
that.
see one, Matt.
Nice.
You know a zero when you see one.
Hey, those who resemble assemble. What can I say?
Okay, well, Sadokist, you've got 30 seconds on the clock.
I got 31 seconds, actually, to be fair.
You're right. You can have a couple extras. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Thorin tries to use my points against me, but let's not forget he said that Device won't be the best player because he doesn't make it to major finals. And that's the reason why they won't win the next major. I said they'll be the best team of 2017. That's a long year. E-League is right around the corner. The fact that I think it's a week away. I think Virtus Pro has this. They've been the most consistent team at the top. We haven't seen them in a while. They've been shaping up. They're going to be ready. They're going to WSG right ahead just before. And the reason Device has to be the MVP is because on that team, who else is going to be? Virtus Pro has everyone that can do that role.
Oh, man. The good old Astralis Virtus Pro debate. Let's hear it, DeBears. Let's get some input from your side.
As much as I love Virtus Pro, but I've heard stories. I've been hearing stories that they playing like 90 hours every 2 weeks, at least 100 hours every 2 weeks. So they are ramping up to do well in this tournament. Astralis has been looking super hot. Device, 4 supports. I mean, that's the dream lineup right there. I mean, if I'm an AWPer, I want people throwing nades for me. I think Astralis has the edge just because they're on fire and they have 4 supports. That can frag, okay? That can frag. Let's just get this clear.
We haven't seen a whole lot of Virtus Pro in this last half of the year.
It's because they've been ready for E-League. They're shaping up.
They've been boot camping for the past 6 months. So
Saving
with
strats.
that being said,
I mean, Taz had a kid. He's got a win to christen the baby.
Yes, definitely he did. He did. Congratulations to Taz for that. But unfortunately, I have to pick Astralis for this, which does make Thorin. I don't know how many shows it's been in a row now.
I came so close, guys. If I hadn't given away the North Point, thanks for the fucking heads up.
You actually wrecked yourself right there, and there's nothing I could do to help you.
See, I would have thought Sadokist would perform better in intervals of 30 seconds only.
You know what? It's a bit too long. I was running out of steam. I'm not going to lie.
Okay, there we go.
It's okay.
Look, I want to thank you guys for coming out and being good sports. I hope you had a good time. We'll just go down the line right now, starting with you, Thorin. You did win the show. You can send your blessings or whatever you'd like to send out.
Okay, yeah, fun show. I think this actually was probably the stupidest one, in as much as somehow on all our answers, we all argued against answers that we later on gave, which doesn't really make any sense logically. But it's just for fun. It's all just for fun. Kind of like Smith's career. It's not about winning. It's not about losing. It's just about taking part.
Dang, that's harsh.
It's just about being with your friends and taking part.
Sadokist, you were the second place. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it was good. I was really hoping to come in and take Thorin down, because it's always fun to go against him with wit. He makes it entertaining. Congrats to him. Wrecked myself, but no, it's been really good. It's been a good offseason. I'm ready and excited to go to the major. Thanks for having us on the show. I think it is a really cool show. Definitely fun. And yeah, major's going to be sick. I think I'm really looking forward to it. I think teams, no one mentioned it, but I think one of the breakout teams for next year is going to be Gambit. And even seeing guys like those in the major come up is going to be really, really good.
That's my answer too, my friend.
Nice.
All right. Well, Mr. Stromberg, last but not least, please tell us something cool.
We're going to build up Thorin so we could tear him down so hard that he'll just feel just shell-shocked and confused and just question his life being.
Like,
that's the goal of the show. That's the goal of the
Reasonable.
show.
Imagine a world where I'm asking Thorin who he thinks had the better answer instead of you.
I know. It's going to be glorious, and mind's going to be blown.
There's going to be a chance for that next episode. I do appreciate you guys. I thank you all for coming out. I hope you had a good time. And if you're just checking out Put Up or Shut Up for the first time this time, I encourage you to go back, watch all the videos that you can, click those YouTube links, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and then follow these guys on social media. They put out a bunch of cool tweets, well, some more than others. Thorns are usually pretty racy. Anyway, see you guys next time.